Yes, there is a question a lot of people have been asking, and I can't ignore it. As much as I love this movie, I found myself asking the same question. And it's, what's up with the oscillation in the Quiet Place monster's hearing? Like, one minute they can hear surprisingly well, and then the next minute, they can't hear people in close proximity that are whispering. What's up with that, bro? Inconsistency much? It seems that at times, these dudes can hear very well. And at other times, when the plot deems it necessary, all of a sudden their really good hearing that is supposed to be amped up times 1,000 just goes completely kaput because the main characters are in danger. Like this shot right here. They are breathing. This creature has opened up its mouth, or opened up its skull. It should be able to detect them have you ever been in a very quiet room? Especially one with dead air? You can hear other people's freaking heartbeat if you're close enough to them. You can hear them breathe. These creatures are supposed to be able to hear a freaking pin drop. Based on what we know about their hearing, I did make another video at some point in time on what sound would be like to the Quiet Place monsters. For us, it can be as quiet as hearing a pin drop, but for the Quiet Place monsters, a pin dropping would sound something like this. Yes, that video was a long time ago. It's called What Noise Sounds Like to the Quiet Place Monster. Because for Rizzos, if a creature like that lived in an environment with a very quiet atmosphere and they came to Earth, things here would be a lot louder than them since, we have a thick atmosphere, we have freaking air. So okay, we can chalk this up to inconsistency, which would be the easy thing to do. But I have a more logical explanation on why the Quiet Place monsters probably don't hear very well. Imagine being on a planet that has little to no atmosphere. So because of that, because sound doesn't carry particularly well, you had to evolve phenomenal hearing just to hunt your food and to escape danger. In my POV, I suppose that Quiet Place monsters weren't just predators, they were possibly hunted by other creatures as well. And born on a planet or moon bathed in complete darkness, or on the region of a planet that has complete darkness, they have to have some kind of sense to make their way around. Maybe some would have touch, maybe some would have smell. Who's to say the Quiet Place monster doesn't have all of those, but the primary one that it uses is the ability to hear very well. We've seen their huge eardrums. These creatures have eardrums the size of a freaking planet. Okay, I'm exaggerating, understandably, because compared to anything on Earth, they're just ridiculously huge. That means that they can hear extremely well. They evolved on an atmosphere that was almost non-existent, and when you have a very thin atmosphere, sound doesn't pass through it very easily. There's a reason why in the vacuum of space, you can't hear anything. In the near-empty regions of space, you cannot hear sounds. Sound travels through the vibration of atoms and molecules in a medium, like air or water. And even though you can't see the air, you know it's there, because when you're trying to run or you're trying to do freaking 120 in your car on the highway, which you shouldn't be doing, but it's fun, and you feel that drag, or it's a windy day and your car starts buffeting all around, especially if you have something like a van or a Jeep, that is air resistance. The compression of the atmosphere or the air on Earth due to the gravity. Sure, there were other things that were proponents to the Earth keeping its atmosphere because it didn't have an atmosphere before, but after it was formed, the Earth's gravity kept it in place. And yes, now we have an atmosphere. It's how birds can fly. They're basically swimming through this atmosphere. And what the atmosphere basically is all these molecules pressed together, comprised from the 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 0.9% argon, and 0.1% of other gases. There are different densities of air. You'll know this from condensation, or see the effects of it when warm humid air collides with cold dry air, and then you see a manifestation of it. So you know that air is a medium, and sound travels through that medium. Water is a denser medium, but you can still have sound travel through it. How densely packed the medium is means that sound will travel better or faster through it. Sound travels faster in water compared with air because water particles are packed more densely together, and so the energy that the sound waves carry is transported faster. I'm doing all of this so we can kind of understand how the Quiet Place monster's ears work, because just telling you, ooh, it's a thin atmosphere, most people are just going to be looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know any of this. I forgot this, even though I learned it in school. So to make this a little easier to understand, let's say that you're on a video game and you have these platforms all around, like Mario style. You can jump on these platforms and get to where you need to go. If you've played Mario, you know how annoying this is, and you can get very good at it. And you can even go through it quite fast. if you practice enough. Let's say these platforms represent air, or the air molecules, and Mario, or the person that you're using to play the game, represents sound. Now what would happen if you put a bunch more platforms in the middle, and they are packed very closely together? Well, then this is a no-brainer. Your guy's like, well, dude, this is like a regular floor. I can just zoom all the way across this like I'm running on a regular floor. This tightly, densely packed platform configuration is basically water. Sound has more platforms or molecules to step on, it's going to be able to run faster. You can even use real life as an example. If you have to hop from platform to platform to get to where you're going so you don't break your ass and back, you're going to move slower because there's less ground under your feet and more open space. But if you have just a regular floor and densely wood packed together, you're free to walk around and run around freely because there's no gaps that you can fall in through and die. A moment of silence for all those portal sound waves that fell below the cracks in their platforms and died and had no one-ups. So with all those gaps in the platforms or gaps in the molecules, in a very thin atmosphere like the planet that the Quiet Place monsters lived in or on, understandably, especially for creatures like us, there would be a lot of loss in information with the sound. But the Quiet Place monsters evolved ears that could pick up all of those information that were lost or pick up the tiniest bits of information, and this was very beneficial to them. And because their atmosphere was so thin on their planet, it was also very quiet on there as well. Ironically, the Quiet Place is probably where they came from. Alright, so now we have a little backstory and understanding on how the ears of the Quiet Place monster worked and why they evolved to hear so well. I love science. So back to the question, why is it in the movie on a planet that has a lot of molecules versus their planet that had very few air molecules? Shouldn't they be able to hear much better? Like, shouldn't we not exist because of them? Shouldn't breathing or our freaking heartbeat be a problem? I know we're squishy and stuff and we have tissue that can absorb a lot of that sound. With how much better their hearing is compared to ours? Yo, dude. They should be murking us quite easy. Why are they not doing it? Again, I do a POV story based on the Quiet Place monsters and what they might have experienced from their perspective. You could just type in Ultiori Quiet Place monster POV, but I set a stage of what it was like when their planet got attacked or broken apart, because there's a reason why these things are floating out into space. And everyone's theory is that these creatures, their planet probably got destroyed, or there was a huge asteroid that slapped into their planet and sent a chunk of that planet flying out. In the story, I try to, as best as possible, have the Quiet Place monsters explain from their point of view what the sound was like, louder than anything they've ever felt in their entire lives. So loud that it shattered them. So loud that they felt physical, excruciating pain flowing through their bodies. Imagine for them coming from a world that was very quiet to one that is excruciatingly loud. Imagine not only suffering that assault on your ears when whatever it is crashed into your planet, but now touching down on a planet where every sound is bumped up super loud. Also, remember, we are seeing the aftermath of when the Quiet Place monsters touched on Earth. Remember, the army has been throwing bombs, nukes, guns at these guys. Not only were their poor ears assaulted by the huge meteor that crashed on their planet, or other planet crashed into their planet, who knows what it was, but then they come to this world where the sound carries a lot better, and then they hear a whole bunch of gunshots. It's possible that when they touched down, the military or whoever it was at that time to greet them were probably freaking out and attacked these things first. I wouldn't put it past them, and I can't exactly blame them either. But can you imagine from the Quiet Place monsters' point of view, them coming down this planet and getting attacked and everything is super loud? They've literally just come from war. Their ears are done. Most of them are probably going deaf, which is why they're opening their ears so damn much in the movies. They probably can't hear shit. Imagine going to your favorite Fox concert and you sit at the very front and you have those freaking stereos blasting your ears for hours at a time. Your ears are gonna be ringing by the time you go back to your den. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry, wrong audience. Your ears can only withstand a certain decibel for a certain period of time. People often experience tinnitus, which is when you experience harsh ringing in your ear due to either age-related hearing loss ear infections, or the most common culprit, inner ear damage caused by repeated exposure to loud noises. If the tiny human ear is that delicate to loud noises and can get damaged or cause hearing loss when exposed to repeated loud noises all the time, or just simply having your earbuds too loud, then it is very possible that the Quiet Place monster death angels did experience the same ear injury from not just the crash on their planet, but the barrage of attacks by the military and all the other loud noises that naturally occur on our planet that has air that is extremely much louder compared to their planet that had a very low atmosphere. The Quiet Place monsters are probably going deaf. They have permanent ear damage and hearing loss, which would cause them to, on a planet where they should hear much easier, to open up their head more frequently, which makes them crazy vulnerable, something that they probably don't do often. You see them doing it now even more so in the movies. Now, at first I theorized that the reason why they were doing this is because they're used to their planet being so quiet that on a planet that is very loud or has very loud ambient noises, they would have a hard time hearing things over the sounds of birds and the natural hum of the planet, along with all the insects chirping and whatnot. But then you have scenes where there is dead air, where they're literally in the same room as another person, where they're in the same space as their prey in a place that is literally a sound booth, where you should be able to hear everything. You can hear yourself breathe. It's annoying. And this thing still has to open up its head, is having problem locating where the humans are, really? In dead frickin' air? That's when I started to be like, okay, I understand that there are some fallacies with the movie, and every movie has them. But if we're gonna make things make sense, yes, I understand some people want us to suspend disbelief. But part of what makes movies fun is to imagine what they would be like in reality, is to imagine something like this could be real. Shoot me. This would be the most logical explanation as to why the creatures sometimes seem as though they can hear very well in certain situations and can't hear well in others. I think they're all freaking deaf. I think their ears are overloaded, and after all the constant exposure of loud noises, these creatures are suffering, unfortunately, from hearing loss. Which is great for the main characters because now their plot armor actually fits and makes sense. The poor listeners never got a chance to even recover from this because everything is constantly loud. For all you know, they suffered this damage before they even came to Earth. I don't know about you, but if you were close enough to the impact that a meteor would make to blast you and your entire family into space, you must have been close enough to the impact site. And do you know how loud an impact like this would be, especially if you're right next to it? Yeah, they probably blew out their freaking ears a long time ago before even touching down onto this planet. They might have had a little bit of rest because they could barely hear in space. Or maybe they were in the pockets of the rock or chunk that they came out from. Yeah, but energy release this extreme, your little sensitive ears are not gonna walk away unscathed. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.